So in our math notebooks today, we're going to be taking notes on dividing decimals by decimals. Yesterday we did decimals by whole numbers. Today it's going to be dividing decimals by decimals. Page 18. So yesterday we just had a decimal in the dividend, and today we're going to have a decimal in the dividend and in the divisor. So we're going to turn to page 18, glue down this page, make sure that you leave yourself some room because we're going to do 2 sample problems. Also, wherever you're keeping up with your page numbers, make sure you label it as page 18. Make the decimal a whole number by moving the decimal to the right. This is what makes it different from dividing a decimal by a whole number. When your divisor is a decimal, you move the decimal to the right however many times you need to make it a whole number. Move the decimal in the dividend to the right as many times as you move the decimal in the divisor. Move the decimal straight to the top, and then divide like whole numbers. Now, just like yesterday, you are not allowed to have remainders when you're dividing decimals. So, put yourself a bunch of stars, just like yesterday, and write. Remember, there are no remainders with decimal division. If you get a remainder, put a 0 in your dividend, bring it down, and keep going. So you can pause the video if you need a minute to write that out. And now we're going to do 2 examples. So our first example is 104 thousandths divided by 8 hundredths. So just like yesterday, we take it and we write it using the division box. 104 thousandths divided by 8 hundredths. Today is different because we have a decimal in our divisor. We're going to move it to the right to make this a whole number. So how many times do I need to move this decimal right to make this a whole number? 1, 2. If I move it 2 times to the right, now instead of 8 hundredths, I have just 8. Since I moved my decimal 2 times here in my divisor, I'm going to come and move it 2 times in my dividend. So I'm going to move it 1, 2. It is no longer right here, it is over here. Now everything is just the same as yesterday. We move it on up to the top. Now we divide 1 digit at a time. We're not going to divide by 0. 1 divided by 8, we can't do that. We put a 0 in our quotient. 1 is less, so we bring down our next digit, which is a 0. 10 divided by 8 is 1. 1 times 8 is 8. We subtract and get 2. 2 is less, so we bring down our 4. 24 divided by 8 is 3. 3 times 8 is 24. And there is no remainder. So 104 thousandths divided by 8 hundredths is 1 3/10. Our second example, 36 8 tenths divided by 25 hundredths. We're going to write it using the division box, 36 8 tenths divided by 25 hundredths. We are not allowed to have a decimal in our divisor, so we move it to the right in order to make our divisor a whole number. So we're going to cross it off, and we're going to move it as right as many times as we need to make it a whole number. 1, 2. Since I moved it 2 times in my divisor, I also move it 2 times in my dividend. 1, I can't move it again. Yes, I can. 2 times, what do I put here? A 0. My decimal is right here, so we move it on up to the top. Now we divide like normal. Since this is a 2-digit divisor, I'm going to list our multiples, even though we should be able to count quarters. 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, 150, 175, 200, 225. All right, we're going to take 1 digit at a time. 3 divided by 25, can't do that. Bring down our next digit. 36 divided by 25 is 1. 1 times 25 is 25. We subtract and get 11. It is less than 25, so we bring down our 8. 118 divided by 25, 4. 4 times 25 is 100. We subtract and get 18. 18 is less, so we bring down our 0. 180 divided by 25, I want to get as close as possible without going over. That's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th multiple. 7 times 25 is 175. We regroup to subtract and get 5. Now, I have a remainder. I have nothing else to bring down. I'm not allowed to have a remainder. So, I put a 0 in my dividend, I bring it down, and I keep going. 50 divided by 25 is 2. 2 times 25 is 50. Subtract and get 0. There's nothing else to bring down, and there's no other remainder. Make sure you watch the next video. We're going to do some practice problems together, and you're going to work them out on loose leaf paper, and then you will do some on your own.